Right. Again, good evening. Welcome all to the webinar to LiCo Book Club. We'll be starting in a minute's time, all right? So meanwhile, this session is recorded and also on YouTube. So if your friends whom you think can benefit from this, do invite them in, or we can also replay through YouTube, right? Okay, so we'll be starting soon. And today we will be talking about reading of food label, right? Oh, this is okay. Let's go. Hi, everyone. You can say hi if you see anyone whom you know here. I think we have already building up a regular, viewership here, a community here, our wellness community. I see Rosalind, Elise. Hi, Hui Kim. Hello, LiCo is here also. Hi. Hello, everyone. Okay, good to see you. Outdoor ke? Kat mana ya? Okay. All right. So regardless of where you are, right? I know some of our friends here are in Singapore, some are in Malaysia. Doesn't matter, right? We can all come online. That's the beauty about a webinar, about online platform. We can all come together to learn together. I think that's really the beauty about technology. All right. So before we start, let me just introduce myself. Let me share with you my slides. We get started, yeah? Yep. Okay. You okay? All right. Can see me and hear me loud and clear, yeah? Okay. So a bit about myself. My name is Jeannie. Of course, I'm in this line of health and wellness for over 15 years. And in the last 5 years, I also took up the training to be a certified personal trainer and also yoga teacher. So in this community, together with my other coaches, my team, we want to build a health and wellness community whereby everyone can learn together, can stay healthy. And of course, along the way, we walk with each other, we motivate each other, we learn from each other so that the journey is not so lonely and you're not alone for sure. Okay, that we can all practice healthy living together. So, regardless of where you are, we have our partners, we have friends from Mighty Bean as well. So, you might be in Penang, in Malaysia, or in Singapore. All good. Let's go. Okay, so today we're going to talk about food label. How many of you struggle with reading food label? How many of you, think that I don't know how to read the food label? It's so complicated. There's so many things, there's so many words, right? Just look at a simple label here, right? There are already so many things. What to look at, okay? And how do I decide what is good and what is bad for me, right? So today, this is exactly what we are going to discuss. Okay, and hopefully after this 45 minutes or so, you have a better idea, or more importantly, you want to develop your own guideline. When you choose your food next time, when you go walk the supermarket aisle, you want to choose. So Hui Kim and Pat say that they used to have, or they find it a challenge to read the food label. So along the way, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, just put it in a comment, all right? Put it in the chat so that we can try to answer you later. Okay, so I really find that when we go into the supermarket, usually there are two sides that you go to, turn left or turn right. The usual supermarket that I go to, if I turn right, I'll see all the fresh produce, the vegetables, the what else? Okay, the fish, the chicken, the meat, right? But if I turn left, I would see all the packet food, something like this that you see on screen, right? It could be biscuits, it could be cereals, it could be a lot of other things. And whenever we read the food label in front of it, it's always very nice. So as you can see from the picture, colorful, pictures, it says things like good source of protein, it says heart health, natural, part of a balanced diet, no artificial ingredients, etc., etc. Is this good enough? Right? Is it good enough for you to pick it up just by looking at the front. So to me, the front is always the advertisement. It's just the advertisement. You have to turn to the back, right? The back is where the fat is. And of course, is legal, is legislated, right? For all the food that is sold in Malaysia and in Singapore, the packet food need to declare certain nutritional information. And this is really to protect the benefits of consumers like us so that we can trust, what is in there. We have some information that we can decide whether we want to buy this product or not. Of course, some very simple one would be the expiry date. How many of you are like the Asian mom? We check the expiry date and then we put our hand to the last one and try to take out something that's with the latest expiry date, maybe 2026 or 2027, although we're just going to eat it in the next 2 weeks. How many of you are like this? Right? So we just want to buy food that has got the longest shelf life, like, fresh, right? Fresh. Okay. So that is to the expiry date, just to make sure that we don't buy anything after the expiry date, right? And then there'll be ingredients, there'll be nutritional information, there'll be where it's coming from as well. I don't know which is the most important information for you. Perhaps you can put it in the chat. What is the thing that you sure will look at before you buy? Okay, besides the cover, the advertisement, do you turn to the back and what is the most important information for you for now? What would you read before you buy? I'm sure there's something that you look for, right? Hopefully, it's not just the price. Price play a part, yes, I understand. But hopefully, it's not just the price. There's other facts in the food that you actually look for. Anyone? Okay, or you think about that, or you can put it in the comment. Let me move on. Okay, so this is a nutritional information panel. This is an example. So it always tell you what is the serving size per packet. One packet means can serve how many times, how many size, and one serving size, what's the calorie, and what are the nutritional value. And also for most of the food, it will provide another column saying that the nutrition value per 100 gram. This is for you to compare across the different products. So for example, you have 2 loaves of bread. One bread, the serving size is 2 slices. But bread A is 50 gram for 2 slices, bread B is 60 gram. So if compare per serving, it's very difficult for you to compare the nutritional value. That's why we look at the per 100 gram. We use that to compare across the different products. And hopefully with that, we can make better decisions. Okay, so a few things to look out for. I'm just going to go through with you what to look out for when you look at the information panel. The first one, okay, per serving. Okay, so for example, bread A is a wholemeal bread, bread B is a white bread. So you see that, wow, bread A, 2 slices, 60 gram. Bread B, 1 slice only per serving is already 50 gram. So if you're eating 2 slices of bread for your breakfast, right? 2 slices of bread plus something. So you cannot compare per serving. Although the per serving is 145, this is 157. But if you're taking 2 slices, you got to times 2. The calorie is actually double. It's more than 300 calorie for this white bread, right? So the per serving information is important. And because the per serving information is different, we can compare the two bread by per 100 gram, which is here. So per 100 gram, the total fats, whole grain, 2.3 grams. White bread, 7 gram. Okay, so you can see that it's way higher in terms of the fats. Okay, protein is about the same, and then fiber, right? Why do we take wholemeal bread is because of the fiber. The fiber is a lot more compared to the white bread. So these are some of the examples that we can use to compare per serving, right? And we want to compare the macros. So I don't know what would be your concern. So everybody could have a different concern. For example, if my concern is weight management, I want to reduce my weight, then of course I want to look at calories. calories become one of the most important one, I would go for the wholemeal bread instead of the white bread because the calorie is a lot lower, the fiber is higher, meaning I can feel full longer. I won't feel hungry so quickly. So that's one. Right? If your aim of eating this bread is to get, for example, protein, I want to maximize my protein, right? So this white bread might be what you want to go for because if you take 2 slices, it's 12 gram of protein for the white bread versus only 7 gram for the brown bread. Again, it depends on your objective. So whenever my clients, my friends ask me, Jeannie, can I eat this? Jeannie, can I eat that? Number one question is, what is your objective of eating this food? Right? Number two, what are you comparing it with? Okay, if you're comparing bread, for example, whole grain bread with I don't know, chocolate bar. Okay, chocolate, for example. Of course, whole grain bread is good, right? Even white bread would be better than that chocolate bar or biscuits. So it really depends on your objective of eating and what do you compare it with, right? So besides the nutritional value, we want to look at the ingredients list as well. And the ingredients list, something like this, as you can see here, ingredients list always start with the heaviest ingredient, meaning the number one ingredient is the one that take up the most percentage. Make sense? So if you look at this is actually the ingredient list of a chocolate bar. It's called a chocolate bar, but the first ingredient, as you can see, is sugar. Then it's milk solids, refined wheat flour, hydrogenated vegetable fat, which is trans fat, edible vegetable fat. Then only there's cocoa solid. So there's only 4% of cocoa in this so-called chocolate bar, right? And you can see things like rising agent. The numbers are all the added food additive, right? 516, 1101, all these are additives and contains added flavor as well. So you can see that this long list of ingredients, it should be called a sugar bar rather than a chocolate bar, correct? Because sugar is the first ingredient. Okay, so this is how when you look at your product, when you look at the things, you need to look at the ingredients list as well. Generally, the shorter the better. Because the shorter it is, that means the more simple. There's not so many things going into that product, right? And you want to see all the words that you know how to read on. For example, you know sugar, you know milk, you know wheat flour. You don't want a lot of the 500, 516, 1101, etc. Because these are all chemicals, right? That, of course, chemicals additive is bad, not just for our health, for our gut as well. Okay, so these are the things that we want to take note of. And of course, in the ingredient list, there will be some allergens as well. You might just want to look out for that if there's someone who's allergy to certain things. For example, peanuts allergy, tree nuts allergy, for example, egg or gluten for that matter. So you also want to read to make sure that it doesn't contain any allergy, allergens that can cause health issues for yourself or your family. Okay, so let's look at some of the claims. Okay, first of all, when we buy, okay, very simple. When we buy packet food, right, usually it's for its convenience. We agree, right? So if you ask me what is better, of course, fresh and whole food is better, which they don't contain any um, nutritional value. So for example, okay, tomato sauce versus tomato, which one is better? Of course, fresh tomato is better, but fresh tomato will not have this ingredients list, like, how much sugar, how much all that, because they are wholesome, they are real fresh food. So that is always the priority, right? And if your aim is to get vitamins and minerals, try not to rely on any of this packet food. I have to tell you very honestly, there's very, very little micronutrients in the packet food. Okay? All right. So if it's for convenient, we want to minimize the damage they can do to our body and want to maximize the benefit. Does that make sense? Okay. So one of the things that we want to look out for will be sugar, because added sugar or additional sugar is definitely bad for our health. Okay, so some food they say that is low in sugar. If for them to claim low in sugar, it just have to be more less than 5 grams of sugar per 100 gram of the food. And certain food can also claim to be sugar free, even though there is up to 0.5 gram of sugar per 100 gram. It doesn't have to be zero in that sense. It just have to be very, very low. And of course, what we can look out for is no added sugar or without added sugar. That will mean that most of the sugar from that packet food is naturally occurring. For example, if it's a fruit juice, the sugar is from the fruit itself, right? If it's a jam, the fruit is from the sugar is from the jam, the fruit itself, and not with added sugar. Okay, does it make sense? So, for example, no sugar added. Cranberry pomegranate 100% juice. Is this healthy? Is this good? Jeannie, can I take this? Okay, again, the question that I'll ask you is, what is your objective of drinking this pomegranate juice? Right? Some people will say that, no, I want the vitamin C, I like the taste, etc. So understand your objective first and what are you replacing it with? If you are not drinking this, what will you be drinking? If you'll be drinking filtered water, like East Spring filtered water, I will say water is better. Okay, so when we flip through, well, let's look at the nutrition ingredient. So this is the 1 liter pack. It serves for, that means every serving is 250 ml. It's about one glass, right? One glass like this. And how much calorie? 110. 110 calorie looks okay, right? Not really very high. And then what else are we looking at? Sugar. Yes, although there's no added sugar, but total sugar is 18.8 gram, which is from the fruit juice. Okay, and what is the main ingredient? As you can see from here, the main ingredient is pear, then apple, then only pomegranate and cranberry. So when you look at it in front, it's cranberry and pomegranate. Are you really getting 100% juice from cranberry and pomegranate or not? No, you are getting mainly pear juice and apple juice, right? And because pear is sweet, the sugar is actually coming from the pear, right? And 18.8 grams of sugar is a lot if you're drinking this alone because it doesn't contain any fiber. It will just shoot our blood sugar right up the roof just with 18 grams of sugar. In fact, in a day, you know, the recommendation, wait, okay, the recommendation from WHO for women is 24 grams of sugar per day. So imagine this one cup is already 18.8 gram. Are we able to keep to the 24 gram or not throughout the day? I think it will be very challenging. For guys, it's 36 gram of sugar, right? Added sugar per day, right? So whenever we buy beverages, really we want to make sure that the sugar doesn't shoot up the roof. We know that the sugary drinks, all these drinks contain quite a lot of sugar. So we want to be careful. We want to go for something. Of course, water is the best. If you ask me, water is still the best. If you need coffee or tea, they can all come without sugar, which is also good. All right, try to avoid things that contain a lot of sugar because we consume about 50% of sugar from drinks actually, not really from food. So some clients tell me, Jeannie, how come my weight keep going up? My blood sugar is getting high. I don't really eat a lot of, sweets or sugary things, but drink 3 coffee a day or 2, 3 teh peng a day, or bubble tea. All these are very high in sugar. That will shoot our blood sugar as well. Okay, so that's why in Singapore we have this Nutri-Grade. We have been practicing this for 2 years already. All the drinks, all the packet drinks needs to have a label on top of it. It's compulsory for beverage with C and D to have the label. C means sugar more than 5%, and D means sugar more than 10%. All right, or saturated fat more than 1.2 grams or 2.8 gram respectively. So for C and D, it's mandatory for them to put the label on the product itself. And for D, because the sugar is so high, it's prohibited to advertise on social media, on newspaper, etc. Can only advertise at the point of sale. So that is the government's initiative to actually try to switch our drinking habit to go for A or B. Okay, so A or B is not compulsory to have the label. So if you buy from the big supermarket, for example, in Singapore, if the drink doesn't have any label, it's likely to be an A or a B. Okay, so these are a better choice that you can choose from. So because we know that Singapore, we are very good with grading, right? A, B, C, D is very simple. So, and with this, after practicing this for 2 years, in the latest health research, health and diet research for Singapore, it shows that consumption of sugar from drinks actually reduced, actually did come down. So it's a good move actually, and we are seeing some results, right? But in Europe, they have this grading for food as well. So if you look at the chocolate bar, in the chocolate bar aisle, you will see either the chocolate is C, D, or even they have E, more than 15% sugar, right? So I hope that in Singapore we can do that for all the food as well, so that it makes our decision a bit easier. Okay, so that's the Nutri-Grade for drinks, for beverages. So you can see that carrot fruit juice seems very healthy. It's 10% sugar, right? Cranberry juice here, no preservatives, no artificial color, but it's 12% sugar. What does it mean by 12% sugar? 12% sugar means every 100 ml, there is 12 grams of sugar. And we usually don't drink just 100 ml. One cup is usually 250. So that is 30 grams of sugar in just that one cup. That's one day, more than one day. A woman, right, should be taking the total amount of sugar the woman should be taking in a day. That's why, in terms of research, most people take over 60 grams of sugar every day. Half of it is from the beverage. So cut down on the sugar from beverages, we'll be able to do a lot better, right? The second concern is sodium or salt. Who will be concerned about sodium or salt? Most of us will not be much of a concern. The tolerance level is 2,300 mg, means about 2.3 grams of sodium that we can take every day. But the problem with packet or processed food is that the sodium is everywhere, and sodium could be quite high as well. And of course, if you have family history of hypertension or family members already have hypertension, high blood pressure, bringing down sodium, you will see that the blood pressure come down immediately. Okay, that's a direct link. Sodium consumption and blood pressure. Okay, so that will be the concern. So for example, for this one, this is actually a can um uh, can food something. This is a canned food basically, right? And the sodium is 538 mg, which is very high, right? Because we only can take 2003 in a day. So this one is like a lot, it's actually a lot of sodium in just 94 grams. All right. So we want to look at the sodium as well per serving, make sure that it's not overboard, especially for those who are concerned about blood pressure. Okay. So canned food usually is the problem, right? So one way that we can do lower the sodium content is not to take the source from the canned food. For example, one of the best source for calcium is sardine. And sardine usually come in a can and usually is quite high in sodium. So what you can do is that take the fish and get rid of the sauces. Just focus on the fish and the bones, right? Don't take the sauce, then we'll be reducing the sodium intake. All right. So the other one is, of course, fats. Okay, fats is also a concern for various reasons. Number one, of course, is for weight management, because 1 gram of fats give us 9 calories compared to 1 gram of protein, 1 gram of carbo, only 4 calories, right? So fat, we also don't want to overdo. More importantly, we don't want to do saturated fat. We don't want to take too much saturated fat. There are good and bad fats in our diet. Okay, the good fats we can take is okay. Like the unsaturated or monounsaturated is okay. Especially omega-3, it's very important because it helps us to bring down inflammation. But we don't find many of the good fats in the packet food, unfortunately. Okay, it's mainly the bad ones, saturated fat and trans fat. So, can we take saturated fat? Yes, saturated fat is not as evil as it once thought to be. Because once upon a time, some 10, 15 years ago, a lot of scientists coming out to say that, high fat is not good. So we have a lot of low fat milk, low fat this, low fat that. Then 10 years passed and realized that the risk for cardiovascular disease, the death for cancer, obesity, and all this doesn't come down just because people take low fat food. Because to make up for the fat, more sugar are actually added into the food, right? So saturated fat is okay as long as we take in moderation. What we really want to avoid is trans fat. Okay, so what is trans fat? These saturated fat are usually naturally occurring. Okay, so this one important thing about fat is check the serving size. So this is a pack of chips, and it looks that wow, per serving calorie 80 only. Sounds okay, right? 80 calorie, I'm sure we can all afford it. But okay, the serving size per serving is 5 cracker, 5 chips. How many of you, when you eat chips, you stop at 5? Unlikely, right? So you might be eating 20 or 30 chips. That could come to a few hundred calories without us noticing, right? And the fats as well. Okay, because we are taking so many 50 or yenny, okay, 50 chips. Okay, so that is 10 servings, which is 800 calorie. Whoa, okay, that start to sound scary, isn't it? Right? And then the fats will be 45 grams of fat before we know it, right? So that is the challenge, right? Very hard to stop at 5, I know, right? So check the serving size. So this is another marketing trick because the marketers, the manufacturer know that we check, how much calorie per serving because they put it here, ma. So they make the serving size intentionally small, right? That's why it looks okay. But if you really read into it, it's actually not okay. Yeah. So make sure that you check that. And then cholesterol as well. We also want to eat food that's lower in cholesterol because we don't need to take in additional cholesterol into our diet. We really don't need extra cholesterol. Okay, so is also needed to put in the cholesterol amount. Like for example, these are the salad sauce. Who loves to eat salad? I've got clients to tell me, Jeannie, very healthy, lunchtime I only eat salad. Then what sauce? Okay, so the devil is here in the sauce. Sesame lah, what else? Honey mustard, sweet onion, what else? Some friends want more sauce, more sauce. Oh, so nice. So that is the problem. Usually the sauce, just 2 tablespoons, right, already contain a lot of fat. French dressing, what is that? Usually I eat without sauce, Okay, Caesar, Thousand Island, right? You name it. So 2 tablespoons is 160 calorie. It's very high. Right? This one, the other one, 2 tablespoons is only 60 calorie. So that's why different sauces, it gives you different calorie. Okay, mainly because of the fat. But usually if the fat is lower and it still tastes yummy, it's because of sugar. So you can see that this nutritional fat for the second one, although the fat is only 2 gram compared to 17 gram, that's why the calorie is a lot lower, but the sugar is a lot higher. That's 5 gram of sugar. So again, there's no one size fit all. If you ask me, A is better or B is better, it depends again what is your objective and what is your concern. If this person has got high blood sugar, okay, pre-diabetic, pre-diabetes or even diabetes or family history of that, you wouldn't want to choose the second one, although the calorie is lower, but the sugar is a lot higher. All right, so it really depends. No one size fit all. You have to develop your own nutritional guideline based on your condition, based on your health concern. And trans fats is really what we want to avoid. Some country already has got the legislation to ban any food with trans fats. Unfortunately, in Singapore and Malaysia, it's not yet. So we still see food with trans fats. Okay, so what are the food with trans fats? General guideline, food that can last very long, still tastes good and crispy after very long, like the chocolate, the biscuits, the cookies, cakes, pies, all this, generally they contain trans fat. So what is trans fat? Trans fat is not naturally occurring. You can't find any trans fat in plants. That's why again another marketing trick. If you buy nuts, right, like cashew nuts or almond nut, it will have this big word say that naturally trans fat free. Of course, because the nuts doesn't contain any trans fat anyway. Okay, so it's just a marketing gimmick, right? So trans fats happen when um, the manufacturer take vegetable oil and put in a hydrogen molecule to make it solid. So vegetable oil is actually liquid in room temperature, but they add in hydrogen to make it solid. So another word is called hydrogenated vegetable oil or partially hydrogenated vegetable oil or hydrogenated fat. Anything that says hydrogenated is actually trans fat. So what is the problem with trans fats? It will bring up our LDL and lower our HDL. And it causes a lot of inflammation in the body. In other words, because it's artificial, it's man-made, our body didn't have the ability to take care of it. So it caused a lot of damage and havoc in the body, right? The manufacturing scene, the food industry developed too fast. Our body cannot catch up with it. So try to avoid putting in trans fats into our body as much as possible. Margarine, shortening, these are all trans fats, right? Yes, it can be quite scary actually. Okay, so if you read through, this is the same packaging, vegetarian something, gluten, which is flour, vegetarian flour. This is kind of a vegetarian food. You can see that it's got trans fats here. Trans fats also needs to be spelled out. So all the food with trans fats, they need to put it down in the nutrition information. So as long as we read, we'll be able to notice that and we can avoid it. Right? I'm sure you can find similar food without trans fats, which is a lot healthier for our body, for our cells. Can okay? So the ingredients is vegetable oil. So if you see the ingredients that's got vegetable oil but it's in solid form, likely that it's actually hydrogenated as well, right? So that's what we want to avoid. Okay, so let's put what we learn into practice. So for example, you've got two cans here. One says peanut butter, crunchy peanut butter. The other one says, I don't know what it says. Bread spread. Okay, bread spread. Okay, so which spread is better? So again, what we want to compare is, first thing we look at the calorie. Oh yeah, the same calorie. 2 teaspoon, 200 calorie. This one, sorry, 2 tablespoon, also 200 calories. So it's the same. Calorie quite high, 200 is not low. Okay, what else do we look at? We want to look at the fat. So seems that this peanut one has got so much higher fat, 16 gram versus 11. So which one will you choose? Do you go for the 16 gram? Remember we say when the fat is low and the food is good, what has to go in? Sugar, right? So this one, sugar 1 gram, protein 7 gram. Whereas for here, sugar 21 gram, protein 3 grams. So now I think the answer is already very obvious just by looking at the nutritional value. If you are still not convinced, let's look at the ingredients. The ingredients for this peanut 1% or less of salt. So it's made of totally peanut alone. Product like this, if you buy in a can, you will see that the paste is below and there's layer of oil floating on top because there's no emulsifier to mix them together. For oil and peanut paste to mix together, you need an emulsifier. So this one is without. You will see that it's not very pretty. It will have a layer of oil floating on top. That's not bad. That's actually good. Okay, and you see the right side, this one. First ingredient is sugar, followed by palm oil, hazelnut, cocoa, etc., etc. There's the emulsifier as well and artificial flavor. So if you just compare the ingredients, the shorter ingredient one will win. Okay, because it's a lot cleaner and simpler. Not to mention this, the first ingredient is actually sugar, and second one palm oil. So it's a sugar and palm oil spread. It's not peanut butter or cocoa spread. Can? Okay, so if you have any, your favorite food, you can take a picture and also put it in the chat. We can all learn together, go through. So yogurt is another challenge, right? We want to eat yogurt because of what? Okay, so my question again, when they ask me, what kind of yogurt should I be eating? So ask yourself, why do you want to eat yogurt? Is it for the probiotic? Yes, we know that probiotic is good for our guts, right? It's good for our digestions. It's good. So we also want to have the protein, hopefully. Okay, so we compare these three different types of yogurt. First of all, protein, 4.3, 4.84, about the same. Then we want to compare the fat, 8, 9, and 1. Wow, this low-fat yogurt, really the fat is very low. Seems good because the fat is only 1.5 gram. But when fat is low, what could be high? Sugar. So this one, the sugar is actually 10 grams. The middle one is only 5. So looks good for me. And on the right, because it's blueberry flavor, per 100 gram, there's 15 gram of sugar. And remember, when we eat yogurt, we seldom eat 100 gram also. Usually a serving is about 150 gram, right? If it's 150 gram, you'll be taking over 20 grams of sugar. Although the fat is low, but the sugar is pretty high, right? So you have to decide. For me, to find yogurt is very simple. I will not buy a yogurt that has got more sugar than protein. I take yogurt for the protein, so I would definitely want more protein than sugar, full stop. Fat is okay. It's okay to have a bit more fat. I think, good fats, especially unsaturated fat is okay. And okay, so this is it. And then milk as well. Again, the question is, why do you drink milk? Is it for the calcium? Is it for the protein? Or is it just for the taste? Right? Then we make decision differently. If there are things that we eat just for the taste, it's just to indulge, just that we love, I don't think we should be doing it on a daily basis. Just like ice cream. If I eat ice cream, do I, very meticulously look at the protein lah, sugar, fats? They're all about the same, okay? It's not going to look very healthy anyway. But if it's just once in a while indulgence or, for certain occasion, I think it's okay, right? But if it's a day-to-day thing, if you're going to drink this milk every day, eat this bread every other day, we better know what we are consuming. Okay, make sense? So again, we look at the protein, compare across per 100 gram. You look at the sugar, right? Especially added sugar. What you want to avoid is really added sugar because it's not natural, it's artificially added just to make the taste. And usually, if sugar is artificially added, usually what is that? It could be high fructose corn syrup or sucrose. The cheaper sugar, which is bad for the body, cause a lot of inflammation and craving. Okay, that's what we don't want. Of course, for milk, many friends tell me that they want to drink for the calcium. Yes, we know that although the calcium is all fortified, meaning they are not natural calcium, they are actually fortified, like putting in artificial calcium putting in, but we still want to have a sizable amount. Make sure that it meets our objective. Okay, Ken? and etc., etc. So you just compare across. Cow's milk might not be the only choice. You can also look at oat milk, rice milk, other plant-based milk that might serve your purpose as well, depending on what is your objective. Okay, so, ayo, okay, this is the other one. Some of the breakfast cereal, avoid this at all costs, because if you turn to the back, if you look at the ingredients, there's really a lot of crazy things in there. First of all, first ingredient is sugar, corn flour, wheat flour, and then there's a lot of all these flavoring, red 40, yellow 6, blue 1. These are all artificial coloring. So we don't want the young kids to put in all this artificial coloring into their body in the morning, early in the morning, right? So avoid this. If you really need to have this, you can do oats. You can do raw oats and still sweeten it with natural fruits or nuts, right? You can just put that all in as well. But again, oats is still mainly carbohydrate. Okay, I would suggest try to take a low carbo breakfast. Try to load more on protein for breakfast as much as possible. Okay, rice milk are actually milk made of rice. There you can take a look. There are rice milks and there are almond milk as well that you can actually look at, or oat milk that if you really need to drink milk. But yeah, so this you can take a look. And then okay, bread spread again. Okay, butter, right? So butter again, if the butter is too cheap, it's unlikely that it's butter. So for example, this one, SCS, one of the more expensive one, you can see that is the ingredient is just pasteurized cream with 80% milk fat, water, and salt. 3 ingredients. Simple enough, good. Whereas this one, you will see that the first ingredient is actually palm oil. It's called buttercup, but it's actually not butter. It's made of palm oil and palm kernel oil. It's got some milk fat, milk powder, etc., etc., emulsifier, flavoring, coloring. Okay, so this is what we want to avoid. The other one, these are the margarine spread. Again, it's made of palm oil, palm kernel oil, and hydrogenated palm fraction. So anything hydrogenated, our alert should be up because that's equals to trans fats. So it does contain trans fats, as you can see here. Okay, so avoid trans fats as much as we can. This is another one. It looks very nice, the face of it, right? It's olive spread. So we know that olive oil is a plant oil. Plant oil, it should be in liquid form. How to make it a spread, right? Although it says 33% less fat, 43% lower in sodium, naturally cholesterol free, I know, because it's plant, right? Plant doesn't contain cholesterol. But if you turn to the back, it does contain trans fat. Okay, because although it says olive spread, but you look at the ingredient says grapeseed oil, olive oil, sunflower oil, uh, palm fraction, skim milk powder, etc., etc. So there's so many things and contains food condition, preservatives, flavoring, and coloring. Whoa, there's a lot of stuff in there, right? What's happening? If you really need to have olive oil with that bread, just dip into olive oil and eat. That will be better, a lot better compared to a spread like this. All right. So don't be fooled by just the cover because these are all just advertisement, right? And nuts. Okay. Always share with our friends as well. Nuts are good fat generally, help to bring down cholesterol, right? But we want to make sure that it's just baked nuts and it's not added with a lot of sugar. So there are so many types of nuts in the market. Now you can see wasabi, honey roasted, a lot of flavorings in there. And that's add on to a lot of sugar and carbs. Okay, so we want to avoid that as well. You can buy just the baked one, right? Another one that I struggle a lot would be protein bar, right? 5 grams of sugar, 6 grams of protein might look okay, but it's actually quite high in saturated fat. Okay, so you want to read through the ingredients, make sure that it meets your need. Protein bar needs to have more protein than anything else. This one is just, I think it's just common sense, right? That we should be looking at, right? So this is another one. This is a soy milk. So because I use Nutrilite all plant protein, right? This is our soy, wheat, and pea plant-based milk that we take every day, that I take every day for the last like 20, 30 years. So if I were to compare it with another brand, for example, organic natural soy milk, right? $1 per serving of 250 ml is about $1 per serving. Okay, the calorie 160, protein, fats are pretty high, and sugar is 6 grams of sugar. Okay, so that's also not low. That's also pretty high as well. Okay, but compared to what I'm taking now, because I wanted something that is very clean, it's only 38 grams per 100, per 10 gram, there's only 38 grams per serving. Okay, and it gives me 8 grams of protein versus this one, only 6.3, is 0.5 gram of fats. Almost no fats at all. There's no saturated fat and no trans fats. I think that's very important that we want to achieve, and zero sugar. Okay, so this is what I've been taking every morning for the past many years, and it serves as a good savory breakfast for me. And on top of this, I'll do my vegetable blend for the past few years as well, at least for 5 years. I do my vegetable blend in the morning. The vegetables blend give me the vitamins, the minerals, the fiber, right? And the carbs. So I don't need extra of any like this. I just put in my protein for my breakfast. And it serves pretty well. It doesn't spike the blood sugar at all. The blood sugar stay constant, throughout the day, more stabilized. And for me, I find that there's less craving for sugary food as well, especially towards the night. And also um, more stable in terms of the moods, and we can have better focus as well. When the blood sugar is not shooting up and down, we can be more focused at doing what we want as well. Okay, so read the food label. So very important. This is the meal replacement. This is what my daughter has been taking since she was kindergarten. All right, until now, she's already 17 years old, still drinking this every morning. And I make sure that it's a clean type of shakes or drinks that she's taking with enough protein, not a lot of fats, not a lot of sugar or carbohydrate, and with all the vitamins and minerals. And if I look at the ingredients, generally they are quite clean ingredients as well, right? Quite clean as well. So if you are new to this webinar and you would like to try to have a sample of this replacement, this breakfast shake together with protein, you can let the person who invited you in know, so that we can arrange to give you a sample so that you can try it out. All right. And in summary, okay, this is what I have for you today. When you go to the supermarket aisle the next time, recognize the serving size. Okay, so if you look at the whole packet of chips, and don't just look at per serving 80 calorie. You really need to see how much is it per serving. Make sure that it's not under declared. Okay, check the calories, because we want to stay within our calories, because in Singapore and Malaysia, close to 50, in Singapore, it's about 45% of people who are overweight or obese, whereas in Malaysia, there's over 50%. So calories are important. Look at the ingredients list. The simpler, the better. You want to see the ingredients that you understand, you can recognize, you can read, and not all the numbers and chemicals, right? Optimize the protein, the unsaturated fat. Of course, if there's vitamins and minerals, that's bonus. I don't rely a lot on packet food for vitamins and minerals. Okay, limit the sugar, sodium, saturated fat, cholesterol, and trans fats. So certain things you want more, certain things you want less, right? And of course, practice, practice, practice. Just by keep doing it, keep understanding it, keep learning and practicing, we will get better and better. And of course, there's no one size fit all. You need to develop your own guideline. For example, your guideline might be, I don't want to eat any food, which is day to day, like I put it on the breakfast table for my family. I don't want anything with more than 5 ingredients. I don't want anything with artificial color, flavor, preservatives, right? Or I don't want anything with more than 10% sugar if you have someone at home with high blood sugar or diabetes. Or I don't want something with high sodium if the family history is actually hypertension, right? So these are the decisions that we can make for our family members because we will be taking care of their health. And if you want to learn more, if you are in Singapore, okay, we are meeting this Saturday, 4th of October at 11 o'clock at NTUC Fair Price at Tampines Hub. So if you're around the area, if at Tampines, come and join us. We'll spend 1 hour going through the aisle, understanding the food packaging. And then from there, we will find what would be the optimal rice, grains, how should we choose them? Um, oil. Oil is another big topic, right? That we can look at. What kind of oils we should choose? What kind of nuts? What kind of what else, right? What kind of, for example, beans or sardines? You know that sardine is good, but they're in a can. So which is the best one? We will be comparing the nutrition value, right? And to decide. So if you'd like to learn, if you'd like to come with me on this Saturday at 11 o'clock, let me know. Let us know. You can put it in the LiCo Wellness community chat or whichever chat that you're in. Just say that you're interested if you're in Singapore, Tampines only. Okay? All right. So, quiz time. Why is it important to read the nutrition information? Right? So, to understand the nutritional value of the food, is it important? Yes, this is the time that you can speak now. To avoid consuming too much undesirable nutrients and to compare across the different choices, right? So, all of the above. Okay? Very greedy. Second one, how does the Nutri-Grade for beverage help to evaluate the beverages? Okay, so the Nutri-Grade by having A, B, C, D, right, is easily compared across the beverage. Like, for example, you're very thirsty, you run to, 7-Eleven, you can see the big C and D, staring at you. You avoid them. Okay, identify the high sugar and high fat beverages, and they don't allow advertisement for high sugar and high fat, which is good, right? So all of the above, Nutri-Grade is being proven effective after 2 years of implementation, which is good. And then what can we rely on to make healthier choices? If you're in Singapore, Singapore Health Promotion Board has got some healthier choice symbol, the triangle that you can look at. But for you really need to compare across the product and develop your own guide because only you know your health and wellness goals. Your concern and your goals only you would know. So you develop your own guide, right? So from there, this would be the list of guidelines that guide us whenever we go for marketing. We will know what to choose for and what to avoid. All right. Okay. Questions? I'll look at the chat. Meanwhile, remember our supermarket tour? Next week, we're going to talk about diets. What is the best for you? So many people ask low carb, keto, vegetarian, vegan, low calorie. What should I be doing? What is best for me? So next Tuesday, all right, we'll be talking about this same time, same Zoom link, same channel. Okay, so invite your friends, come and join us. We'll be discussing what is the best diet for you, or is there one actually? Right? For those of you who are in Singapore, our LiCo Fun Walk on the 10th of October, we are going to see the lights at Chinese Garden. Okay, it's Lantern Festival, it's Mid-Autumn Festival. So we'll be walking through, holding lanterns, walking through and have a fun time together. Dinner at 6 o'clock and start walking from 7 to 9. Okay, so join us, 10th of October, Friday night. And you're in for another treat. This is only at Tampines, 6th of November. We're going to have a cooking class. Yay! We're gonna cook chicken, cordyceps flowers, and winter melon. Very simple, one dish meal. Very simple. I promise you, anybody can cook. If Jeannie can do it, you can do it, right? And we're gonna do homemade natural detox blend as well. So 1.5 hours, you're gonna learn two things. You have a portion of the food for you to taste as well and the drink. All right. If you are in Penang and if you want to run this in Penang, let us know. We can always arrange to make it happen. All right. So, but first of all, we're gonna do it in Singapore at Tampines. Okay. So, question. Last few minutes. I'm just gonna take question if there's any. Hey Selena, you'll be here in Singapore. Hey, call me, call me. We go for tea. Come to the west to do what? Cooking, is it? If you want the cordyceps flower
tour.
oh, the tour? Oh, supermarket tour. Can. You just gather 4 people, I go. Right? Just gather a few people, then we can all go, we can all learn together. Yes. Hydrogen water and hydrogenated food are two different things. Hydrogen water just means putting in hydrogen gas into the water. Um, some company claims there's got some health benefit, but because the hydrogen doesn't stay in the water for very long, so yeah, I think it still need a lot of scientific proof to talk about the benefit of hydrogen water. Yeah, I don't know enough about hydrogen water. I'll need to find out more. But hydrogenated, we are talking about hydrogenated oil, right? Hydrogenated oil, plant oil hydrogenated will become trans fat. That's what we don't want. Yes. Right. Okay. Thank you, Yenny. Hope that all of us learn something and put it in practice. Okay. I have a topic for a person with high cholesterol and sugar. Yes, Tana. Yes. Take note of that. I'll put it in my note. Will do. Do. Anyone want to 点唱? Anyone want other topic? Do let us know. Okay. Yes. Can end of the month also can, Selena. You let me know. Penang also can, yes. Just gather 4 people, we can go for the supermarket tour wherever you are. I think the best is to put our knowledge in practice. You know, when you walk down the aisle of the supermarket, then we can learn together. Food is scarce due to limited natural resources. Meatless food and advisable alternative choices. Um, Meatless food, you're talking about protein, right? Actually, I'm not sure if you really need that because for meatless food, usually we are looking at protein, and the concern is because the real protein, like the beef and the mutton, they take up a lot of they leave a lot of carbon footprint. First of all, they take a lot of land, for the cow and all that to eat the grass and then produce the food, the meat and all that. It takes up a lot of resources. The whole food chain take a lot of resources. But that's why in our practice, we always recommend our clients, our friends to do 50-50. Yes, protein is very important. It's something that we shouldn't compromise, but try to do 50% animal-based, 50% plant-based. You don't need meatless. You can just go plant-based for your protein. Edamame, soy, tempeh, beans, mushrooms, nuts. These are all good sources of plant-based protein, which leaves a lot lesser carbon footprint. You want a supermarket tour on a Sunday? We can arrange that as well. Yes. Just let's get a few people and see. We'll put it in the chat and ask, all right? So thank you. Any other questions? Put on some weight. What kind of butter? Okay, if you want to put on weight, Brenda, you go
Yeah.
for grass-fed cow butter. Grass-fed cow. So that will be the cleaner type of butter. Grass-fed
Oh,
cow.
so I see.
You don't necessarily have to do butter because no matter how it is still 怎么讲? It is still animal based, right? It's still animal based. So you can do avocado, you can do chia seeds, flax seeds, nut seeds, and nuts. These are all good fats. Not necessarily have
Oh,
to do butter. So you can do tahini sauce, for example. You know tahini, Tahini? Tahini sauce or sesame spread. You can use that to
I
spread on
prefer
your,
like butter, so I can put on my bread.
yes, that sesame spread you can put on your bread as well. Yes, I can send you
Oh,
some
there's one
link. You take a look.
there's one butter, they say what, Kerry Gold. Is it good?
I need to read the ingredients, but the brand name I
Oh.
don't know.
Anyway, Saturday you'll be there, correct? Tampines Hub.
Yes, yes, yes.
If I got time, I want to go down there and see.
You have to register
Then I
and
show
let
you.
me know. Yes, yes, yes. Then we go and walk along the aisle. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Just now you said the body key, the one is what? Protein powder.
Body Key is a meal
That,
replacement. It's a complete meal. It doesn't just have
oh,
protein.
no.
It has got carbo. It's got good fats as well from coconut oil and all. So it's a complete meal by itself, and it comes with 3 flavors: chocolate, coffee, and also berries. You come
Oh.
on Saturday. I let you try.
Okay lah, next Saturday I come.
Yep.
I
Okay.
faster come.
Okay, Rosalind. All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, everyone. If there's no more questions, thank you. Thank you for the
Thank
active
you.
participation. I see you next week.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Jeannie, after this got session.
Yes. After this is another chat. Yes.
You send the link. Thank you.
Where are you? Oh, Rusida.